Welcome to the BarDown podcast, where today we're going to be bringing out our heat scale to discuss the wild card race in the East. That is more Metro Division teams than Jesse could fit in his mouth.
I don't know. I got a pretty big mouth.
We'll weigh in on the Cutter Gauthier situation, which has turned into a full-on Drive to Survive style drama. We assess Willie's ducats and see where he ranks amongst the top wingers in the league. And finally, we discuss who the best team in the NHL actually is: the Canucks, the Avalanche, the Golden Knights, the Rangers, or
Your Winnipeg Jets.
We'll get there. We'll discuss.
You better not have been about to say like the Islanders.
It was definitely the Islanders. Someone in the comments just on the last one was like, "You guys, your disrespect of the Islanders is insane."
Guys, we
and
disrespect.
Here we are starting it again.
We disrespect everyone. Team. Like, just you gotta live with it.
I don't even think that's true.
I don't think it is either.
He's kidding. He's kidding.
Yeah, I think it's just like we all have teams that we watch a little bit more.
Of
like,
course.
You're not going to watch every game every night. Like, there's 13 games tonight. You're not watching all of them. I probably watch the Islanders the least. I will admit
Hey,
that.
Islanders play the Leafs tonight, so
I won't be watching that. I don't want.
neither will I.
That's Corwin's hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are you guys watching that?
No.
Are you watching that
Absolutely
tonight?
not.
Probably.
Islanders, no. Jets play tonight. Pretty sure they play the Blackhawks.
So there you go. Let's keep that in mind. So here it is, guys. We got a bunch of topics that we haven't discussed as of yet. Some of them, again, we've been waiting for you on one of them, kind of, because you've been away.
Yeah.
You've been away in Sweden. I thought you were gonna say something there.
No.
Staring into my soul.
I thought you were going to say something
No,
there.
that was it. That was it. That's all I had.
You've been away.
Yeah, just want to say, Sweden, amazing place, very good people, unbelievable opportunity, and we are so back in 2024.
We are so back in 2024. You guys ready for this heat scale? Because
Yeah. What is this?
I want you guys. We're gonna start with a topic. And again, we got some topical things that we just mentioned off the top of the show there. But I'm gonna give you the rating scale here, and you just got to give me where the heat is here. Okay? You can either be neutral, you can be warm, it can be hot, or it can be 37.7 degrees Celsius. And the reason I chose that is because how weird is it, by the way, when people are like, it's hot, it's like 100 degrees in here. That's Fahrenheit. That's 37 for us, which sounds so underwhelming, and I know exactly why no one says that.
Does sound very underwhelming.
It's 37 degrees in here.
No one's taking you
Wow.
seriously at all.
You're like, is that hot? That's hot for us, though. That's the
spicy.
heat. On the cold scale, cold but not enough to skate on. So, great. Icy. And finally, Portage in Maine.
Great place.
That's cold.
That is cool.
Very cool.
Where that
Cold.
Colorado guy almost died. What? You guys know that clip, no?
What? No, I have no
All
idea.
right, we'll
What
put
are
it in
you
the pod.
talking about?
There's a reporter. He was like at Portage in Maine, and he was reporting how it's like the coldest place in Canada.
I would say it's the windiest and coldest intersection on the planet. Just being out here, I feel like I might die. It's a death sentence.
We can't get through an intro of this podcast without talking about death.
or Winnipeg.
Or
Yeah.
both are pretty similar.
Winnipeg's a given, but death, the streak of death has been
And then when you
like
combine
4 in a row.
you combine the two, murder peg.
Oh my
That's what we call. That's what people call Winnipeg.
All right, well let's get off of death and go into the first topic, and we'll start with you, Pac.
Oh, okay.
The wild card race in the East. Give me a heat rating.
I would say it's 37.7 degrees Celsius. It is pretty hot. I don't know.
as hot as it
I don't know
gets.
if it's too bold to just jump right in and go with the hottest temperature, but it seems like every day things are shifting. Of course, not everyone's played the same amount of games, but there's some teams that look like they're trending in the right direction. Some teams that I'm buying that they're going to fall off towards the back half of the season. It is just so interesting. And there's so many teams that I think are in contention right now that are in similar windows where if they don't make the playoffs, it's a colossal failure.
Give me a colossal failure team, and just a little bit of context here. And again, these results might change with 13 games tonight, but it's 2 points, so adjust accordingly. But all the way from the Hurricanes, who were second in the Metro, they got 49. Flyers then got 48. And then the Islanders have 46. Then the Devils with 44, and 44 again for the Caps. And the Penguins also with 44. So the ones locked in that wild card is just like Devils, Capitals, Penguins. But who's the team you were talking about when it comes to, okay, if you don't make the playoffs, is colossal failure?
It sounds a little harsh to say colossal failure, but I mean, the Pittsburgh
does.
Penguins, it's like what are you playing for if you're not going to be in the playoffs? There is no future right now.
They're heating
with
up,
this
though.
organization. They're heating up
right now.
They're playing
They're
much better.
37.7 right now.
Yeah, they are playing hot.
American friends, that's hot.
Yeah.
It's like 100 degrees in here.
And if I'm making a prediction, I would
Never gonna like be able to listen to that the same again.
Doesn't sound that hot.
Yeah, 37.
Oh, it's like 37 degrees in here.
It's like pretty like that's like a pretty hot summer day here. Like that's
Yeah,
like,
no, that's scorching.
It's
37.
scorching.
I'm
Man,
not
like,
going
You're not
Point
going
seven.
outside.
Point
but-
seven.
But still.
Yeah.
you're in the water all day or inside.
Yeah.
with the AC on.
But no, yeah, that's like not a crazy take, only because as you said, they're locked into what they are.
Yeah.
And as you said, they are getting way better. I was watching the other night in that Philadelphia game, which finally, nice to see that game matter because it was huge in the standings for them. But on top of that, like the atmosphere of it was just so great as well. It was crazy and flying around. But Malkin, he looks amazing again, which like at the beginning of the year did not. I don't know if you guys even have seen any of like the goals that they've had, but
He
just
very
slick.
he very rarely throughout his career has not looked good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mr. Consistency.
He is.
Makes sense for someone who is a top 100 player of all time.
Well,
right?
he should be.
He's-
He got absolutely dogged.
God
at the
hose.
ranking.
God hose.
They redo
Like-
that at all. He doesn't get dogged.
Oh my God.
Maybe.
He's maybe even like, is Malkin maybe even like a top 50 player of all time? Like we're talking. Like, he might be like one of the more underrated players in NHL history.
Definitely.
Well, they finally found like a line mate too, which is pretty important for him. Again, that O'Connor guy, didn't think much of him, but either way, who do you guys see missing out in the end? By the way, of this race,
It's tough. Because I think like if the Devils miss out, it's probably along Puck's lines of like colossal failure. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like this team was
Had a
supposed
ton
to
of injuries.
supposed to be a top 3 team. Yeah, they have had a ton of injuries. I can't see the Islanders making it, but they're also the team that's like
That Islanders
they're also the
commenter.
team that's like
right.
yeah, no, they're gonna make it somehow. I don't know. I just can't see them making it as far as. And you know what? I will say, because we have disrespected them, they have surprised me as far as like
The Islanders.
Bo Horvat's been playing really well. I didn't think he was this kind of player when like the shooting percentage dropped. He would be this player, but like he's unlocked Matt Barzal, who's having his best season so far in his career. And like I love Noah Dobson. They've dealt with some injuries too. But when you just stack them up, and I think Washington might be the other one too. If I'm stealing anyone's thunder there, like those two teams, as far as like the top end talent goes, I just don't know if it's there that matches the other teams they're racing with.
looking at like the top 3 in the Metro, because people are scraping to get out of that wild card spot or into that one, but like the top 3's shaking up pretty good. Like the Rangers, they seem like they should be able to lock down
Pretty locked
the
in.
Metro.
They are so good.
Carolina's been rolling too, though.
They have their problems though too, the Rangers, as much as they do look good. But either way, it doesn't seem like the Canes, the Flyers, or whoever below that are gonna knock them off that spot. For all of you guys, who would you put as like, okay, these 3 will be like representing the Metro as the top 3?
Ooh.
I think the Rangers and the Hurricanes will for sure be in the top.
You're just locking them in.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah, I
locked
think
for
so.
sure. And then
They do seem to have figured out. Yeah, they're slumped at the beginning.
I'm gonna put the Devils in.
Yeah, I want to see the
I
Devils.
feel like
want
the
to
Devils will
believe-
get hot.
I think they
in the
will.
second
Like
half of the season.
There's just
yeah.
40 games left. I think they played 38 games at the moment. But like, Philly's a weird one because they're overachieving.
Hats
clearly.
off to them though.
Yeah,
Like,
and
they've been great.
credit to John Tortorella as well, because it feels like everyone's kind of buying into his philosophy in Philly, and they're well ahead of schedule in what we thought would be. Like, if we look back to our tier list at the beginning of the season, like they were probably near that bottom tier. So
He's such a Philly guy towards
Yeah.
him, hey? Yeah. It's kind of nice. But you guys know who's a really interesting team that we haven't really discussed today? Tampa Bay Lightning. I just can't put my finger on them. It's like, could you imagine finishing first in the East, and then that's who you have to play against? That'd be like, man,
wild card.
if the Lightning played
Yeah.
against the Bruins, that's like, I actually think I would like the Lightning in that series. Is that a crazy thing to say?
I don't think it's like a crazy thing to say just because like it does feel like the Bruins are evening a little bit out and they do have a tougher schedule, I believe, like to kind of end the year. And I don't know, it helps to go in hot. And if you're kind of getting beat around, like they don't look impervious. They look way better than anyone gave them credit, including us at the start of the year. But I don't think that's that crazy to say because Kucherov exists.
Exactly, man.
He's like crazy good this year.
Tampa's top end talent is just so good. I think it like matches up with Boston's nicely. You got Vasilevsky, like, you know, when you get to the playoffs, you get in a rhythm. You don't want to like go against although
He wasn't great last year.
Vash
Yeah.
was not good. So let me.
But it
He's
could be
human.
a flip of a coin still. Like
Yeah.
he's still Vasilevsky, and he could still be good.
Still got some good D. I don't know. I just feel like maybe the Lightning just need to get to the playoffs and then they can kind of figure their stuff out. But we'll see.
One of the weirder things, by the way, I was just like, while we were on that Islanders chat, you'd assume you're like, oh, just like defense and like whatever, like goaltending, like all stereotypes.
They've been weird this year.
They've been the complete opposite of that. Like as far as like high danger chances given up, they're in like the very top as far as or bottom, I guess, if you want to mix it up. And then high danger chances for
They're creating stuff.
Oilers, Penguins, Islanders.
And they've had some injuries too on the blue line. Like Pollock and Pellick have been hurt at different points. I don't know if they're back yet, so forgive me, Islanders fans, for not watching your team. But like, yeah, they're just a completely different team. And like, also Brock Nelson is he's like the most underrated kind of scorer in hockey, where he's just gonna put up like another 30.
They redo that top 100 list. His name's in there.
It's not gonna be in there. But you know what? Shout out to Brock Nelson.
Not gonna be present.
We'll get some Islanders fans off our back a little.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Let's move on to the next thing here. Jesse, you ready? Get your heat meter out. The Winnipeg Jets are currently number 1 in the league on points percentage. Heat meter.
Like in terms of like how much do I love that, or
how much are you buying it?
Like so above 100, like
37.7,
like so above 37.7, like 100%. I mean, look, I feel like we're at a point, and I know last year the Jets kind of dropped off, like in January, but you just watch the way the Jets play, and it's not, almost not for believing, especially considering our roster. Like we are. You know, I'm going to just say it how it is here. We are not the most skilled team in the league. Like, there's no question. But we are getting it done from literally everyone right now.
Like, explain it, because, again, truth be told, I do not watch a lot of the Jets. We know you watch every moment of them. Like, please explain. Like, how the hell? And they were top of the West last year. It happened during the year, but then they went and they slid right back down. There was, like, low expectations going into the year. Like, how did they arrive here? Like, what has them playing this way?
Well, right now, we legitimately might have the best line in hockey. Like, Velarde, Ehlers, and Scheifele have been on an absolute tear. They have been unbelievable. Gabe Velarde's been off the charts good. Like better than Jets fans ever could have expected. And then we're just like getting it done from other guys deeper in the lineup. Like Cole Perfetti, I think he has like 13 or 14 goals now. Like he's been a really nice player. Vlad Nemestikov has been like so good, bringing the Jets such good value. And then you get it done from guys like Lowry as well. And even on the back end, like our defense are holding their own, which is just like has been an issue for Winnipeg in the past. Like Brendan Dillon has looked amazing this year. Like he blocks so many shots. He's actually been offensively. He's actually been like pretty decent player. I wonder what the Jets are going to do. Oh, and like, sorry, how could I forget? Connor Hellebuyck.
I was going to say,
Connor Hellebuyck's been
top of the
control.
list in
Best
goals
goalie in
saved
hockey.
above expected by 5 goals.
I think we're actually starting to move on. Like not only will Connor Hellebuyck, like he'll win the Vezina if he continues playing like this, but when are we going to start talking about him maybe being MVP of the league?
Wow.
Tough for goalies to win the Hart.
Yeah. It's so hard.
Especially because of what you said, where it's like there's a lot of guys stepping up.
That's
I agree with, would make that very tough. Like he'd have to be like saving their.
Like I
ass
think his
and
goals
them
against would have to be like under 2. He'd have to like have 10 shutouts and like
it is
have
hard.
like 50 wins or something.
It's hard.
sell.
It's hard as a tendy, but like I'm just saying, maybe even like nominated because he has been. He's
That's what we play for.
Man, he's been out of control good, and you got to wonder what the Jets are going to do at the deadline. Also, guys like Dylan Sandberg, like so steady. Like these, DeMello's even holding his own. Schmidt's been great. Like I think at some point, you have to look at the Jets and say, you look at Vegas blueprint last year. What was the thing about Vegas's defense?
Big boys.
Huge.
Put you through the boards.
They were huge. What was their average height? I think their average height was like 6'2".
6'4", yeah.
The Jets aren't.
Short Kings not welcome.
The Jets aren't that
Sam
big on
Girard
defense.
not playing on
Get
that
outta
team.
here.
Yeah. The Jets are not that big on defense, so I really wonder. And you know who'd be a perfect fit back there?
Logan Stanley.
No.
Give him some more minutes. Get him some more
I don't know his
minutes.
height. I think he's
Tyler
got decent
Myers.
height.
Tyler Myers is the
Get him in
tallest
there.
guy I can think of.
Dustin
Get him back.
Byfuglien.
The snake.
Did you see a snake for you guys? Tyler Myers?
No, he's just like tall and so there's like a snake.
I don't think he has a
No.
snake.
Good guy.
Like,
Good guy.
Did he betray someone?
I'm like, I don't
Good
remember
guy.
him betraying
No,
anyone.
he just like slithers. Chris Tanev.
I don't remember him doing that either.
Chris Tanev would be an amazing addition to Winnipeg. Do you want to look up his height? I don't even know how tall he is.
I feel
But
like he's not that tall.
Who is this? Sorry.
Chris Tanev, but still, I feel like he fits like that nice
plays rough.
Winnipeg
Tanev,
mold. Plays
I
tough.
think you're right, he's not-
Can log in a ton of minutes. Like I feel like that's a guy you want to play. I remember when Vancouver made a bit of a run that one year. I think it was like during COVID, like the first year of COVID in the bubble.
Yeah.
He was so good for Vancouver.
6'2", average height for
you
the
know what?
NHL.
And
Solid.
what's Tanev's size?
That was that.
Oh, he's 6'2". Yeah, he's 6'2". That's actually big for the Jets. And I just think that like,
All right.
look, Chevy.
I'm hearing you on everything else but
I
that
know.
comment.
I know. I've been talking. About Winnipeg for a long time, but Chevy. No one is questioning what Chevy's doing right now. Like, I think he's going to end up winning GM of the year.
Which is crazy because
My point.
you were
Man.
so hard on that guy.
I was, of course, but like, good on Chevy.
The trade made a huge difference.
The trade,
That
man, the trade just panned out, and like I think Chevy actually proved a lot of people wrong in Winnipeg, and now he's got that. There's no pressure. It's like Chevy, if you want to get rid of our first round pick this year, do it. Like by all means, if you want to trade a prospect like I don't know, like a Chaz Lucius and get some good return for someone,
Crazy name.
do it. I think
You didn't bother mentioning Rucker there, your boy, eh?
Or Brad Lambert.
Michigan.
or Lambert's looked good this year.
He
man.
has looked good. He's
Like we would need like a serious return for Lambert.
Yeah.
But I think Lucius is a guy who you could move and get decent return for if it's like a rental. And on top of that, we're not trading Rutger.
Chaz Lucius's name is 37.7 degrees. So I'll have you know.
So is Rutger
Wow.
McGroarty.
Yeah.
Also, just want to say from the World Juniors, not just saying this to be biased, I legitimately think that Rutger McGroarty is going to be like the next biggest personality in hockey. He's so funny. Literally printed us views night of the World Juniors.
Everything he did, yeah.
Like cumulatively, like
Cumulatively, yeah.
cumulatively,
We're all for the community as well.
yes. I think he like got us like 10 million views worth of.
He'll be sending a check and we'll be moving on to the next thing here. But you are 100%
Get
right.
the guy in NIL.
What would the Canucks have to do to be further convinced, or what would you guys need from the Canucks to be further convinced of like their cup aspirations at this point? Whatever, if you want to, like, who cares to crown them as like top team in hockey? Just like the only thing that matters is winning the cup. That literally is the only thing.
Yeah.
For any of you guys, what's the thing you'd need to see before season's end to like believe more in them?
That's a good question. Maybe if they just do this for 82 games, then
That's
more
enough.
of a
You're
believer. Yeah. Like I think we're all just in. It's not like Philly in the sense like they're more talented than Philly, but I think people are just waiting for the other shoe to drop on them and them just to go through like a rough skid and never kind of find that form again. But if Demko can play like this for an entire season, if Quinn Hughes like puts up 100 points, if Besser scores 40, like if they just keep on doing what they've been doing for the next half of the season. And I mean, crazy thing is like they still haven't played LA, so like they've got some tougher teams on the horizon that I'm going to be very interested in watching them play against. But yeah, full season worth, like, hey, if you can do it for an entire season, win the Pacific, like you've got one of the best shots to win the cup at that point.
There's no, like, at this point you can't question the talent of the roster. Like they've done enough to prove that. Quinn Hughes, like, outstanding. The scoring up front is there. Goaltending's been great. So you talk about this team getting it done in the playoffs. I find like it's so hard to predict whether you can show up over the course of a 7-game series. It can get so random times where a goalie can get hot or your scorers just wrong time go into a drought.
Yeah.
So that part scares me a little bit, but I think
That's like with any team.
Exactly. That's with any team.
That's not like exclusive to the Canucks. So it sounds like as a room then, like you guys already are pretty hot on them and remain hot then. I don't think none of you sound.
I'd like to see them add one more forward and a little bit of depth. Maybe that like seventh defenseman, a guy to add on the fourth line. Even though I like their depth right now and their bottom six is playing very well, and I think that's part of the reason, at least from like an underrated perspective, that people aren't giving them credit for, why they've been able to do this over the course of already half a season. I'd still like them to, I mean, you can never have too many defensemen. Injuries are probably going to happen as well. Just add a little bit more.
Yeah, like you know what? Their defense is so much better, especially on paper too, than it was last year. You look at it right now. I think I'd maybe want to see them add another D. And like, who knows? Hey, guy like Chris Tanev coming home.
I
can see it.
So tall.
I could see, man. He's got that league average height.
He's got that
Vegas height.
average height. He'd be the tallest one in this room.
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
give him that.
He would be.
Oh yeah,
Maybe.
But I don't know. Like I look at their defense, it's good. I just wonder how good it would actually be in a 7-game series against a team like Colorado. They have to play against each other or Winnipeg.
Last point in this discussion point on the top teams in the league. I'm gonna go over to you. I mean, Golden Knights and the Avs just played.
Yes.
So I mean, we got some answers. You guys look so smooth. Like both ends just completely dominated that whole game.
It's been a weird season for the Avs though, because like Golden Knights are going through injuries of their own. Like Aiden Hill didn't play, and Shea Theodore's been hurt, and like forwards, whatever. And the Avs have they finally are starting to look better, but their goaltending has just been a horrendous mess. So it's nice to see Georgiev get back. They've also been dealing with injuries. Like they have no depth outside of McKinnon, Rantanen, and like Nichushkin's going to be a 40-goal scorer this year, which is insane.
How funny was?
Holy crap!
Did you watch the game?
Yeah.
When he went, I forget who's. I think it was on the first goal.
Oh yeah.
He thought it went in, and he was like already cheering mid play. Immediately put his arms down. Stayed in front of the net.
Colton chance. Yeah.
Got the goal.
Yeah. Oh, it was. He's amazing. I love it. But I'm excited to see what the lineup will look like with Lehkonen back and with some of these guys. But like Drouin has been unlocked on that top line.
Yeah, he had a pass last night again. Same thing.
Oh my God.
I don't think he ended up with a goal or anything last night, but he just looked good.
Like 14 points in his last one.
Yeah, he's been like a point per game player now, and like back checking. Like there's a clip of him like back checking on Kolesar and hitting him, and I'm just like, whoa, Jonathan Drouin, wasn't familiar with your game, but like he's fit in really well, and every time he does something good and it leads to a goal, like Nathan McKinnon is so excited. So I genuinely think that is something to watch. Sam Girard's back now too, which is nice on the back end. So I think they're really good, and they're starting to play better. Like they've got wins against Boston and the Vegas Golden Knights in the last two, and we'll see. They've got a tough schedule down the stretch, but like I'm really excited for it because I think this team is starting to hit its stride. And McKinnon, I think, is like the heart favorite.
Six words for you, Chili.
6? That's a lot.
I know.
That's a lot to like.
I know
you
the
can say
exact words
anything.
they're gonna
I think
be.
just say a sentence.
say
at this point.
anything
You don't have
right
to say
now.
how many words are in it.
17 words for you, Jesse.
Yeah, I got a 1,200 word essay for you.
What am I doing? Jonathan Drouin.
I knew that was coming.
Is that what you thought I was gonna say?
Did we make a bet about Drouin? I feel like in the first
you guys?
episode,
Maybe
you guys were talking about Drouin, and I was like, he hasn't done this ever. What makes you think he's
you're
going to do
hating
this?
for sure on him.
No, not really. Like, it's honestly, I'm happy to see him do well because I never like when guys don't live up to their billing in the league.
Yeah, that's not fun for anyone.
Yeah.
That's just like one less good player.
And I really thought he was going to work in Montreal, and then I feel like I knew very quickly when I just started watching him, like, this guy's not going to be that 70-point guy that we thought we were getting.
It's crazy though. You watch him now, and it's like,
Yeah.
holy crap! Like he could get 50 points this season, 60 points this season.
And moving on to the next topic, which is pretty similar here as far as player decisions go. And Luca, back to you here.
Okay.
The Cutter Gauthier situation in Philly. We don't even really need to give this a heat rating. You just go ahead and give that 37.7
Oh yeah, this breaks the
degrees.
scale, man. Like this is as hot as you can get.
At least 40, maybe.
At least 40.
At least 40.
What's 100 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit?
You would just die.
No, I know.
Our
but
planet
just-
would be in trouble.
Yeah, for sure. But like, what is it?
I don't know. A lot?
A lot. Okay. Well, that's what this.
All right, the Philly situation.
It's messed up, man. I really like. Where do you guys want to start? Like thoughts? I don't know. I'm kind of on the side of like player empowerment in the sense of like, hey, we don't know all the facts. Like that. I mean, all the misinformation and like people claiming that they know stuff and like the Kevin Hayes thing, whatever. Like all that stuff is just kind of in the background, is added to the drama, and like anything that's untrue and people speculating is like, that's BS, whatever. I guess the main point of it though is like, there's clearly something that happened and he needed to get out of Philly, and like I'm all for that. If something happened, and like we may never know what that is, but if he felt like it was to the point where it was so bad that he could not play hockey with this organization, then I'm all for that, of trying to move on. And they got Drysdale, got a point last night, wore the dog mask. Like that was great. They've embraced him fully.
I guess like a general question for all you guys on this then. Now that you've heard from Cutter, because
Yes.
he's, done an interview,
Yes.
did your opinion on this situation change at all from when you first heard the news?
Maybe a little more empathetic towards him, as far as like, we really don't know what's going on
Yeah.
with the situation. And so like it's
Did you see him in Sweden? Because you were there.
I did see. We got a great video of Cutter where he says, "We're gonna have to bleep this out," but
BarDown.
one of the best videos we got from the Jays, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, Gauthier, we're around. I just want to say something, just being around the USA hockey team. Like,
You were into them before you got there.
Yeah.
yeah, I remember having like followed Cutter last year at the World Juniors in Moncton, and like he's very, very well respected by his teammates. Like it seems like they really love him. And honestly, as much as I like don't like what happened, because as a Winnipeg,
Yeah, it
you know,
cuts you
as a
deep
Winnipegger,
is
it cuts
the-
deep because
yeah.
like people might say like, hey, I don't want to play for Winnipeg, and I'm gonna leave, even though Winnipeg has done an unbelievable job at retaining their star players. I'm just saying. At the same time, I'm kind of like. Spicy news. It's like it's kind of like exciting.
It's like
one of those-
NHL drama.
Other sports,
Other sports have
do
this
this?
a lot more frequently.
Yes.
Also, though, one
yes.
of those things where it doesn't feel like it was like, I don't want to play for Philly because like I don't want, like, it didn't feel like a
not the
Lindros.
city.
Philly's a
Yeah.
weird
No.
city to say that about.
It
because
is.
They're a
And
very
it came
well
from an
respected.
American player
Exactly.
too.
That's
So to me, it
100%.
doesn't feel like a Winnipeg situation.
It feels like there's a lot more to this that we may never know, and so it's unfair, obviously, to be like, like Cutter Gauthier, like he's such a in the wrong in this, like just criticizing the kid that hasn't even played an NHL game yet.
Look, he's clearly confident in his abilities, and he knows he's going to be a good player. He will be a good player. He's an excellent player. But we see it in leagues like the NBA, where players force themselves out of teams, and they force their way to certain teams. And maybe Cutter Gauthier is just like, look, and I don't know. For the record, I'm a Torts fan. I like him, and I really, really love.
He
how
said, by the way, he commented directly on the Torts part, and he said it had nothing to do.
nothing to do with it. Okay,
He said he's had hard coaches, and he had nothing. Like he went up, he acknowledged that at the draft, he went up to the guy and was like, "Hey, like I want to play for your team." Like it doesn't seem like it's anything Torts related.
maybe like man, he was a huge Penguins fan, and maybe like I don't know.
Cutter is.
Massive Penguins fan.
Oh,
That's what he said. He
I
said
didn't know.
Sidney Crosby's like his hero and all this stuff. And man, also, maybe where's Cutter Gauthier from? Is he from Massachusetts or where's he from?
I have no clue.
I have to look it up.
It makes like everything is being so tight-lipped. Like I know he said like it's
said-
between my parents and
Yeah.
me and my agent, and it's like it just seems like something happened that we may never know about.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's
He was
okay.
born in Sweden.
That's okay.
Yeah, he's born in Sweden.
Realistically, all anyone can do is like kind of speculate. No one knows facts. Cutter Gauthier might have a great reason for why he didn't want to play in Philly. We don't know. It could be something as far as like the guy just doesn't want to live in Philly.
It could, but also,
I
like,
would
and I'm
love
sure
to
that's
live
where
in
the
Philly.
Philly fans probably are like feeling the most. And again, I'm empathetic to them. Where if someone
Yeah,
rejects
for
your
sure.
team,
Oh.
like, you shouldn't. The death threat stuff's like
Yeah, that's
So
grow up.
stupid.
Like,
Yeah,
to
like,
feel sad about it.
perspective on
Absolutely.
life if you're doing that.
I
but-
will say though, like this happens with guys that go to the colleges in the States, obviously, because like
Very NCAA thing. Adam
Very
Fox, Blake
NCAA
Wheeler, Jimmy
exactly.
Vesey, Will Butcher.
you can the list goes on and on and on where these high picks just they don't end up signing with the team that drafts them and they play somewhere else, and it's like it's a common thing. It doesn't play out in this way often though. It's more just like
Yeah.
No.
I'm not signing with you, I'm
It
gonna sign
happens
with
sooner.
someone else.
It happens soon. Like yeah,
Yeah.
Kind of does, and they don't get drafted as high up.
They got a good return. And
a great return.
But fellas, oh my goodness. Did Anaheim ever do a good job?
Yeah.
Like-
oh,
like-
Well,
great
I
for
feel like
them.
we'll still have to wait
Yeah.
and see. But
I feel
But-
like
but-
Drysdale's
no,
also
man.
going to turn. Like they gave up a big piece. I'm into Drysdale.
No, very good return for Philly. Don't get me wrong. Drysdale's going to be a good player. But to get a guy like Cutter Gauthier, like literally
totally.
one of the top prospects in hockey, and you add him to that core in Anaheim, oh my goodness, man. And what's the thing about Gauthier? I feel like Gauthier fits that core so well because he's got like a bit of tough streak in him, like a little bit, and he can just rip it. He has such a good shot. And if you throw him in with that core, oh my goodness. Now, what I'm really curious to see is Trevor Zegras going to remain with the Ducks? Because there's a couple things here.
year.
Well, apparently defensively, he's been very good this year. And the reason I say that is he might be a little sour about what happened with Drysdale. He might be a little upset about what
That was his
happened.
buddy.
Yeah,
like-
maybe
yeah.
maybe I'll feel a little less inclined to want to stay there. And look at the depth, right? And who are the centers now? They said they have McTavish, Zegras, Gauthier, and Carlson.
Yeah.
Like
It's a lot.
someone's gonna
Seven,
like
yeah.
someone
Going
might
to the win.
someone might have to go here.
That's also what they've
Yeah.
said about Gauthier as well.
And
so.
and also,
Yeah.
if a team could afford to get rid of a defenseman, it's the Anaheim Ducks. Let me remind everyone, all three CHL defensemen of the year from last year, you got Minchikov, Zellweger, and Lemieux. All were all nominated. They're all Ducks prospects. So and Noah Warren from Team Canada this year, also a Ducks prospect.
They're
so I think
in a
this
good spot.
They're in a great spot. And to add a guy like Cutter Gauthier, who could probably be like a 35, 40 goals scorer just based on like his shot alone, I think. Man, he's a 5th overall pick. Like,
potentially, yeah.
Potentially.
We'll see how that plays out. It could just be a win on both sides, win on one side, but it'll be down the line.
Sorry, I was gonna say last thing. All the stuff about the Kevin Hayes stuff was just ridiculous. And
I don't even think we have to address it because that bozo move.
The only thing I'm gonna say though is like, people can say what they want about John Tortorella, but the guy clearly has like a good, like he's got a lot of moral clarity, and I thought he did like, I don't know. I thought it was kind of boss that he just said like. Kind of sticking up for Kevin Hayes and be like, you are an idiot.
Dude, we got some good interview or some good press conference clips out of this whole thing from Torts. He definitely backs his players. But yeah, who cares? We don't have the details of why he wanted it. It's like, you're going to care if you're a Philly fan, and from here for the rest of us, if you're not a Ducks fan, let's hope both of them turn out well.
Yeah.
All right, Thomas, this one lands on your shoulders, which is pretty funny. Because it would usually be for Corwin here, and you're a Habs guy. But William Nylander signs an 8-year, $92 million contract. Give me the heat meter on that thing.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
Is this guy icy on this?
So if it's hot, that means I like the deal.
Means you like the deal.
I need a reminder of what all the different
the heat scale?
But I'm somewhere in the area of maybe like a lukewarm.
That's just warm.
Warm.
I didn't get creative with that one at all.
Maybe a little less.
In fact, I said hot.
I'll say warm
too.
Feel bad. The way William Nylander is playing this year, he deserves that money.
Yeah.
Like, I think I should start off by saying that. Absolutely, he is playing like a top 10 player in the NHL. Like, he's just lighting the league on fire, scoring like crazy, and I think he's proven that he can continue at this pace. But also, he signed it in the middle of a season. In a year where he's playing better than he has before. Like, are we at the point where we can talk about maybe the Leafs losing once again another contract negotiation? I don't know.
You don't even have to say that timidly, because I think people are saying that loudly, but whether or not you guys agree with that is another thing.
I think you can definitely make the case for it, because the Matthews one that he just signed, he set the record, and he also signed it on a very short term where he's going to enter the market again and probably reset the market at that next contract. That wasn't very team friendly in my eyes. Like, that was a great contract for Matthews. Obviously, whenever you can retain your best players, it's a win for an organization, because when the Leafs have these guys, they're going to be good and they're going to have a Stanley Cup window. So I guess that's a plus. And also, there were many doubters that didn't think that they could retain Willie in the first place. So again, another plus.
That was actually us, which, by the way, we got to eat on that, because we were like, oh, dude's Blackhawks bound, man. He wants to get 30 points a season there as a team.
As a team.
As a team, 30. I believe we can get them to the 40-point mark.
We're going to win 12 games this year.
Right,
at
least.
And lose 3 in overtime.
That did not age well. But that's what I was most surprised at. I didn't realize how connected he is to Toronto, I guess. Because, I mean, he could have waited. He could have totally just gone to free agency.
But do you think it's better that he didn't wait in terms of how much money that he got?
For how much he got?
Yes. Because if history tells us anything, the Leafs go into the playoffs. And he doesn't do once well again, not even him, because honestly last year,
he does well in the playoffs.
I thought he did well in the playoffs. But the team doesn't do anything. The front office is then looking like maybe we should make a change. And maybe even though Willie's playing well.
Like, I mean, other teams. You know, he's still a talented winger. You don't think someone would have like thrown that on the table with like
Chicago would have thrown that money at him
for sure.
I was just surprised that like again he came out and was just like, no, like give me 8 years here. So
the moment he stepped on that subway to go to the game,
he became a Toronto hero forever.
He became a Toronto.
He won't be doing that.
We should have known then that he was going to sign an extension.
Yeah.
Once he started using transit to get to games.
Do you guys think that there's would you say that it's already happened this year as far as him being like their most important player next to Matthews or whatever? You can kind of say they flipped through the year. Do you think there's a point where he just permanently becomes like the 1A, 1B guy in that scenario and usurps
power shift in Toronto?
Yeah.
Marner is now third in the pecking order.
I was going to say, I think we need to start talking about Mitch Marner a little. What does that guy's future hold? It just seems like, I don't know, depending on what happens this year with the Leafs in the playoffs, Marner's going to have a year left on his deal after this year. Next year will be his last year, him and Tavares. I don't know. Is that a guy who, like, you sign Nylander? Do they maybe look to trade Marner?
We got to get Paul on the show.
Look, I love Marner. I'm a huge
Paul. I don't think Paul would be a very friendly man in this room.
I'm
the things that are currently being
he'd
said.
burn this
I
place
think
to
I'd
the ground.
understand him too. I wouldn't want to hear that either.
I'm a huge Mitch Marner fan, for the record. Like, I really, really.
Oh,
like
we
him.
get it.
I like him as a player, and I like him as a personality.
And you tell him you
and
look
he's
the
got
same.
he's got a beautiful face. He's maybe the best looking player in the NHL. But
That's suspicious.
but I just think that, like, if the team doesn't win this year, do you think that, like, they kind of sign Nylander knowing that Marner could come at the expense of that?
I disagree because I think Tavares has his contract coming to
Yeah,
an end,
it's-
and
I
I
know
think
it's
either a
changed, yeah.
massive pay cut is coming, or I think
gone.
he's just going to part ways with the
I was
team.
gonna say they're
I think
hoping,
it's the pay cut
unlike
part, but, yeah.
unlike before the pandemic happened, like the cap actually goes up and they're able to gain a lot of money from that, which all teams I'm sure are hoping. So like this move is gonna look fine in the long run, and like you said, with JT's money coming off the books, like it's an easy transition.
What do you think? What do you think? Sorry, what do you think it settles for, Tavares? If it's with the Leafs,
I don't know.
I think it's
How
gonna
old is
be
he now?
like
30, 33?
30,
It all
34.
depends
Depends.
too
It's so
on what
situational.
this
Yeah.
team
It
does
is,
in the
yeah.
next.
But if there's anyone to take a
Season
pay
and a
cut,
bit.
it's that
Gotta
guy.
be him.
He's the
Yeah.
For sure.
He's the guy.
He started all of the, like, as far as like
Exactly.
their he earned his upgrade, but everyone uses him as the example of, like, you didn't take a home down discount. So
Marner will probably not go anywhere, but, like, I don't know. We'll
I
see.
think the one thing about the Leafs core, everyone loves to say, you won't be able to hang on to X, Y, and Z on your team, and they continue to do it. And then at the deadline, they go and they
He's
add a
going.
guy.
and then
to the
Blackhawks, and then they keep losing.
yeah, they do. They
said
keep
that
losing every single
from his
year.
chest.
Yeah.
They do keep losing, but
They do.
It's better, I think, to lose with good players retained for a long time than it is to be like, let's just trade these guys.
I've been a
Yeah.
Sabres
We
fan
wanna
for
go
a
in
year and a
different
half,
direction.
and I will tell you right now, that's better than just not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, where do you guys, irrespective of the money, by the way, think he ranks as far as wingers go?
He's top 10.
For sure, Tom.
Yeah,
Top 10
yeah.
for sure.
Deserving of the money, then. All right, so moving on to Don't Think, Just Tweet.
Wow.
Guy loves the deal.
I know.
He's brimming with it. Has a jersey, the Chicago one, because we jumped the gun.
Yeah, it was a bad move.
Yeah. Don't Think, Just Tweet. We will start with Jesse. With Willie's deal in mind, what do you think Elias Pettersson should demand in his deal, and what do you think he'll get?
Keep in mind, he's a centerman.
Is it crazy to say that Pity
Pity.
Pity.
could push for 13?
Is that
a
Pity
crazy
land?
thing to say?
I
With
think
the cap going up.
that's a lot.
Maybe 12 and a half. I think 12 and a half is fair for Petey.
I think $1 million more than Nylander.
Yeah.
I would be content
Yeah.
with that.
He's awesome, man. I freaking love that guy.
Did you see
He's
the goal that he had against
wicked.
the Rangers?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
That was crazy.
He's-
His hands are like just
He is just such a beauty. I also really like the way he carries himself off the ice. Classy guy. We've met him a couple times. I think we met him at All Star.
pretty quiet,
He's a
kind of
big-
unassuming guy.
Quiet, but like also
But,
like,
like,
pretty
has a
cool,
personality.
Pretty cool, man. Like I'm around this guy. I'm like, this guy seems cool.
Luca, we're moving on to you.
Yeah.
What do you think Jake Gensel will demand
Oh
in
my
his
gosh,
deal?
Are we just doing contract
It's the last one
negotiations today?
It's the last one.
Man,
Another
somewhere
notable-
between 9.5 and 10.7.
It's very
He's leading the
specific.
Penguins in points this season so far, and
And he's
like
done that before.
has done that before. Great goal scorer. Man, he's gonna make some money.
Totally.
He's gonna make some money.
At least 10 mil.
If someone
He should
like
make-
Jake
Yeah, at
Gensel's
least
getting
10,
10 mil, like what does the benchmark change to for everyone's favorite stat where it's like, I know it's still going on, where a team with a player that makes more than 10 million hasn't won a cup? But it's at this
Yeah.
point now, the
It'll
way this
keep,
contract
yeah,
Man.
It'll the 11.
The 11 million stat will come out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna go to 11, and then
Yeah,
it's
it
gonna go
starts-
to 12, and it's gonna go to 13.
Guys,
The Leafs
What-
set
whatever
that
the
trend.
Leafs, yeah.
So yeah, what are their guys at?
When are we going to talk about Sam Reinhart and what that guy's going to make on his next
I was
contract?
gonna put him next, and then I cut it out. So I
like,
guess we
like,
can just
no,
cut
like,
it out.
like,
Contract,
like
baby.
if Nylander is making 11 and a half and Reinhart is like third in the league in goals right now,
I think he's second.
is he second?
I think he is. Could be wrong, but
Tough though, like
Because it's one season.
because it's one season. Yeah.
Well, last year he was very good too, but
he was
obviously
good last
wasn't
year,
this
but
elite.
yeah, and like
He's gonna make a lot of money.
the
Someone's gonna pay
contract
him like
year
9
stuff
at
is
least.
so
Chicago.
It's so funny.
Man,
Chicago is going to absolutely throw a Brinks truck at this.
All right, top line of Connor Bedard, Jake
And they
Gensel,
will-
Good.
Elias
Nylander.
Pettersson, and then Nylander. They're going to trade for
Trade
him.
for Nylander.
Is that,
Reinhart.
is that 15 wins a year?
I was talking about that with Craig Button, and Craig was like, I don't know, Jesse. Like, I don't think that's how it works. Like, he's just like, I don't think teams are just gonna will it. Teams might not, like, who knows? Like, teams might not willingly, players might not willingly go to Chicago. Like, they haven't really had that much success. I said, but Craig, like, they've got Bedard, and like, you look at like Crosby or Ovechkin, these generational talents, McDavid. These guys eventually end up like switching things around. He goes, yeah, but Jesse, they also had some prospects in place. Like, Chicago's kind of a bit of a ways away here. And I was like, Craig, no. They got Oliver Moore and Frank
This guy's
Gazer.
talking down to a former GM in the NHL after that GM said to him, I don't know, Jesse.
I don't think
That's
that's
not how it works.
Okay. Crazy. The All-Star format demanding that all 32 teams have one representative has once again led to some eyebrow raising. What would you change to the system to improve upon it?
As long as Clayton Keller's getting into that
Oh
All-Star
my
game.
God.
This guy.
I honestly think it's embarrassing what the NHL is.
Nick Suzuki is racking up
People were
All-Star.
really rude about the Suzuki one because
He's actually having a very good
someone
season.
tweeted like his stats without context and was like, all right, buddy, like first off, like it wasn't even that horrible, but on top of that, it's like that's not his whole game, and look who he plays for and who he plays with.
He plays with Caulfield and a first overall pick, but
That's how we're gonna frame that. All right, and that's been his future for the last couple of years, right? You're our future, right?
He's our future.
That came out of Montreal, that clip, by the way, so that makes even more sense.
I will say, I hate this just for the future as far as like, you use all-star appearances and like being like a 10-time all-star. It used to like mean something as far
totally.
as like
Means something
Hall of
contract
Fame debates
negotiations.
go.
Pro Bowl.
100%, but it's a meaningless thing now where it's like you're voting in by fans and like Morgan Riley's gonna get in because like John Tavares wants to see him get in. And
Social
like,
media,
Oliver
bro.
Bjorkstrand is more of an all-star than like he made it, and Cale Makar might not make it this year because he had to be voted in by the fans. Like, what are we doing here? I don't get this.
It's social media, bro. Like, someone who was it that said that someone's like Justin Herbert's a social media quarterback? I would never like say. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of just like this is just like it's like popularity.
It feels like a participation
I'll say this,
ribbon,
though.
Yeah.
Almost. Like, the San Jose Sharks don't deserve to have an all-star this year.
But
Why?
I think the NHL, out of all, if you look at every big league in North America, they need teams to have a representative.
Why though?
Because
don't
they
get
need
that.
that fan interest. They
But
need.
no one from San Jose is coming or gonna watch that all-star.
But if even a few fans are gonna say, "I'm gonna tune in because
I hate
Thomas
that.
Hurdle is at the skills competition, and I'm gonna tune in and I'm gonna watch this."
Yeah, but
They
I'd rather
need
tune in and be like, wow, Cale Makar's in the
No,
All-Star competition.
honest to God, like here, real quick assessment, because like again, it's been a while since we've been kids. But when you were a kid, I don't know about you, I didn't care if my team genuinely had players. Like it was nice if they were there, but that's not what I watched.
No.
I watched the All-Star game,
the jerseys.
the jerseys, the
skills
competitions,
competition.
and just having the best players there.
World-
I wasn't like I need a representative from my team, or I won't
exactly
watch
it.
this.
Bring back World versus North America, boys. Bring it back.
I like that they're bringing back the draft.
Yeah.
That's
like
the place.
The draft is great.
One second.
Draft's great.
That is the place to bring. Like, if you don't know where to stick international hockey, All-Star Game is the best place to try that out.
Just so
Do it
like,
there.
The NHL is so hesitant on sending players whatever, and then they could just do it themselves for
At an All-Star game,
weekend.
one game that actually like matters. Ooh,
And
that'd
like
be
talk
cool.
about growing the sport. That's how you grow it, not like
Yeah.
let's get Thomas Hurdle in
Okay,
the
but
All-Star
I don't think
game.
that's
They
not-
want to
yeah.
grow the sport in places like California, and I think.
But
World
that's
versus North
gonna do it.
America, like, are they
Come
gonna-
on, man. Like you think someone, and I don't mean to go hard at you here, but I
You can.
I think you work for the NHL marketing department. I need you to listen because I want this to work. Genuinely, I don't think anyone who watches hockey in like Anaheim or Los Angeles or like a market where they maybe it's like they have a lot of interest, but it's not traditionally the sport of interest. Obviously, basketball and baseball are like the number one things. They're like those people are already devoted to that team. They're already watching hockey anyways. They're probably already interested in that event. I don't think it's pushing the needle for the people you don't have as a fan, right? Like if you're a Lakers fan, you're not going to be like, ooh, Anze Kopitar and sort of pick on him again. He doesn't deserve it. He's a great player. But I don't think that's like, oh, I'm in on hockey now because Anze Kopitar is now playing in Toronto in February.
But are you in on it if it's like, oh, the best players there? Probably not.
But like, don't you have a better chance? You're like, hey, USA versus like Canada.
Yeah.
Ooh, I hate those Canadians. I
rather-
think they're way better than us at hockey.
rather it be
I
like-
want to see them eat it this year.
The Avs have 4 players there, and then they're doing this draft, and like, oh, is Nathan
Something.
McKinnon gonna go against Kale McCarr? Or like, what combinations of things are we gonna get? Not like, who's gonna draft Thomas Hurdle?
I don't know why we're going.
It's just always
Hurdle is
Thomas
catching streaks right now. Guy's getting
Who's gonna
dogged.
draft Oliver Bjorkstrand? Poor guy at the
Doesn't even want
He's
to
like all of us.
So bad for the
Yeah.
man.
He's like all
He
of
had a
us.
family vacation in
Airbnb.
San Diego.
Somewhere else. Airbnb somewhere else.
He's got to come to Toronto in February
tough.
for no reason at all.
Tough. I'll take your San Diego spot.
Yeah.
If you want it, buddy.
Yeah, we'll hit the
I'm
zoo.
already here. Just give me your vacation.
I would go on vacation. Fake an injury. It's not too late. Crosby
Anyway.
does it every year to get out of the game.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's number 1 on the bucket list to meet this year. I feel like Sid's going to come to the All-Star game this year. I feel like Sid loves Toronto.
All right, Luca. Last one here. How good has it been to see how much hockey fans are embracing the PWHL? Because it's cool. Like, there's a lot of people sharing, like, they're watching, like, NHL games in the PWHL same night. Obviously, being free on YouTube, massive help in that. But in general, the clips being shown from all the games and just having all of the top women playing in one place. How much have you enjoyed seeing people embracing that?
It's amazing. I feel like now that we've gotten past the first games too, it's just like what teams are gonna win. It's the conversation is always going to be about how groundbreaking this league is. But now, like every league, it's just like it is a sport. It's hockey. It's talking about the storylines and the players and not just when is this league going to come to fruition. So it's been amazing. I've watched a ton of it. Was at Toronto for the opener, which was amazing. And like the talent on display is just incredible. Like, I don't know if you guys saw Heise's goals last night. Holy crap.
Yeah.
So
when she cut to the
Oh my
net.
God,
my
that was
a crazy
Waited it
goal.
out.
Like-
Great hands. Yeah.
So good. And I think another thing too is like the physicality. I feel like people are like, oh, they hid in women's hockey. It's like, no, it's a physical game. It's not like they don't do this and like this isn't
Yeah.
part of it. I think just more people are watching and paying attention finally to it, which has been nice to see. So I love it. It's on in our house every night that there's a game on because you can watch it on YouTube and it's so easily available, which is nice, and because it's the best players in the world, and you want to see them do their thing.
Going to my first game on Saturday.
Nice.
yeah.
Very, very excited.
Yeah,
Who's Toronto facing?
Ottawa, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Out
Actually,
of
no,
Ontario.
Is that your team, Toronto?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
I'll
know who
take
my
Toronto.
team
I'll take
is.
Toronto.
I mean, I got to cheer for one Toronto team, not the Smelly Leafs.
What about the Argos?
No, man, they beat the
Smelly, what
Bombers
is that?
in the Great Cup.
Forgot.
You know, Smelly, that's where you're going to use? That's going on now. You can come up better than that.
Minnesota looks like a wagon early on.
I'm in on Montreal.
Yeah?
I'm
Oh,
kind
No,
of
no, yeah.
I
no
kind of
shocker
like
there.
Ottawa.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet. Why
wouldn't you just pick Toronto?
Because I don't like Toronto, the
It's
city.
like Toronto teams.
Respect.
But I like a lot of the Toronto players.
Bringing back one thing here. And it's because it needed to be mentioned on this pod. We had a Bin Boys segment in here once.
Bin boys, bin boys.
Bin Boys! Bringing it back. Every now and then when I find something that is so egregious as far
love
as like,
these.
what is this? Who is this for? Why is it for sale on the internet? Guys, Adidas, they've done a great job as far as revitalizing interest in the jersey, as far as like NHL goes, right? We got one of them hanging up right
Bam.
there.
Very nice.
The reverse retro program that they had going there was so exciting. It was awesome to see how much interest there was, just like, not even just like from hockey fans, it's people in general who just love sports logos. This, however, what they have done,
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
this is not it.
What have they done?
Oh!
They made soccer jerseys for every hockey team. Oh. What the hell is this? What are these?
What the
I've done these before.
Are you a Wisconsin Badger? What is that? Is this a ref?
Are you going to the mall?
The Winnipeg Jets. The Winnipeg Jets one is just white.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Why is the
Horrend-
logo
the
in the
whiteout.
center of the chest?
Wow.
This is horrendous.
White them out.
Why does that one have a C? But none of the other ones do.
Wait, why
Why are they
New
all the
York-
same style?
Why do New York and Chicago just not have
They're
them?
like, New York won't be that into this. No, they do have them, I'm sure. And then, I know where the Flames
Oh,
are.
I
actually kinda like
Cali-
Flames.
Caliente. Let's get spicy with this one. That's 37.
Coriante. That's cilantro in Swedish.
Yeah. These. Oh,
Oh!
Phoenix one's kind of nice.
Oh, the Kachina
Phoenix one's
one's
kind of
I
nice.
don't know if that's nice. I would not.
It's
wear
better than
any
the
of
other
these.
one.
I don't get the logo in the middle.
It's so
All
big.
I want to say is for the Women's World Cup, I made jerseys, soccer jerseys for
Did they use
every
your
Canadian
design?
team. No, mine were way better. I'll say that unbiasedly.
This looks
Sorry,
like it was
Adidas.
made by AI. Someone was just like, I don't
What's
know,
that
man.
green
Like,
one?
it's the Canucks one. Oh, no, it's
No,
Dallas.
it's Dallas.
Okay.
That's ugly.
These are
That's
terrible.
really ugly. That Dallas is
Terrible.
awful.
Terrible.
They're terrible.
I will say, though,
Terrible.
shout out to our guy Dan Neer,
Yeah.
who is now the president of the WHL. He
Pretty
is no
cool.
longer
Yeah.
with Adidas anymore, but
He had nothing to do with this. I love Adidas.
He's like, the NHL wants to go with Fanatics.
Dude.
All right, screw it. I'm out of here.
I'm out of here. I'm
Yeah.
going to the dub.
Yeah. Respect.
That's a tough look for hockey, for soccer, and for Adidas.
Full size run in every single one of them. Oh, no way.
We should order one just to
get
just to
Jesse a
have.
Yeah,
one.
we gotta.
Yeah, we gotta get Jesse.
Oh my god.
You'll rock that.
Oh,
Do they have an
sorry.
Avs one?
I'm sure they do. They must have every team. Horrendous. And finally, we're going to end this off by reading some of the comments from last week. Comments like this one from Metal Ocelot 90. Was that a Metal Gear reference? Cool if it is. Love having Thomas on. Oh,
wow.
Is it really a hockey podcast without a Habs fan annoyingly bringing up the 24 Stanley Cups? He's a Habs fan as well, by the way.
I just want to
We
say,
love having you on, Thomas.
Corin's back next week.
He is.
I'm gonna lose my chair.
Hey, there's always a
what?
spot.
There's
in
always the
Zegers
Zegers zone is always there for us.
Honestly,
Always
Bog,
open.
you should like permanently take the Zegers.
The Zegers zone.
It's been a pleasure filling in this season. I've had a ton of fun. Thank you guys.
You'll be.
It's not going to be the last time
Exactly.
you
You'll
fill
be-
in.
Okay, I'm gonna get emotional now. Say like I feel like I'm saying a farewell speech.
No,
after this
you'll
comment,
be
but thank
around.
you
I
guys.
will let's quickly speed through the rest of these. Love the podcast and quizzes and vlogs. You should do a Ovechkin and Crosby quiz. That's
Ooh,
spicy.
that
Wow.
could be fun.
Ethan J. Berman. That's
may-
spicy.
Maybe I'll even host that one.
No, you're hosting
But you got to
true
be
or
in
false.
that. Yeah, yeah. And the last
Gotta
one
host
here.
mine?
True or false.
Just full true or false
Yeah.
quiz. Oh god.
No,
gives
we
me-
need him in now.
That gives me anxiety to think about.
The last one here from Jamie Reed. This one actually genuinely, I laughed out loud when I read this on the bus. It's weird. This was quoting me from our conversation last week. It's weird that the Canucks have played so well this year, but don't get the respect. Yeah, but isn't it just okay to not get respect? Screw you, buddy.
LOL. Screw you, buddy.
Screw you, buddy.
I think-
I was like, yeah, I guess I was kind of like, isn't it okay for just no one to respect you? I guess, yeah. Anyways.
You know what? We got them off our back one. We said nice things about
said
them
nice
today.
things. Said nice things about them, and we will say nice things about them next week if they do well.
Oh yeah.